Hey guys, Dr. Kelsey Latimer here, talking about grounding, and so excited to be working with you because honestly, this is one of my very favorite topics of all time. It's a very simple topic, but a very important one. And actually, as we've talked about before in the Conscious Coaching Collective, um, so many times we think that the most important techniques that we teach people are going to be these things that are so amazingly complex, when in reality, it's really the simple stuff that actually makes a difference in people's lives. So grounding is something that I have found to be incredibly important in my own life, something that I teach every client that I'm working with, whether or not they have anxiety or not, doesn't matter. And something I practice my own multiple times per day. And I want you to be practicing this and commit to this, practicing this every single day moving forward yourself. If you are not an anxious person, it's going to just make you more mindful of the present moment. If you are an anxious person, it's going to take you out of what's going on in your mind and focusing you on what's happening in the present, which anxious people have a really hard time with. So let's talk about definitions for anxiety. I have for a long time thought about anxiety as being something that is living. It's a living thing, and it's something that lives in the future, the what ifs of the future, or the shame and the blame of the past. It lives in anything but the present moment. And so what do I mean by that? Well, the what ifs of the future are things like, oh my gosh, what are these people going to think of me if this video isn't good enough? And you know what? Like, I already recorded this video and they're going to think, wow, they couldn't hear it and it wasn't good enough. And so they're never going to want to be our affiliates and they're not going to want to move forward with us. And then our company is going to go bankrupt and oh my gosh. Okay, so if you know what I mean, either you yourself have been through it yourself or you've known clients that have been, where they start off with some small problem and before they know it, they've got themselves homeless on the street somewhere, because our minds can take us anywhere and they can make our problems 10 million times stronger than they ever were to begin with. So that's the what ifs of the future. We can also, in our minds, go to the shame and the blame of the past, and that's easily as easy to do as well. And so what is that? Well, that's when we're hanging out in the past and we're thinking, we should have done this, could have done that. What if we did this? How would that have worked out? What would people have thought about us? And so maybe something like that would have been, oh my gosh, what would have happened had I recorded this correctly the first time? Maybe people would have thought that I was like smarter and then they would have referred more people to us. So I really should have done that. And there's something wrong with me that I didn't catch the fact that there were some glitches in this video. And I could go on and on and on. So I could spend time shaming and blaming myself. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, in my mind, the problem with that is whether or not it is being in the future or the past, it does not matter because we have no control over it. And so I think in terms of energy and percentage of energy, I think, in terms of overall, all we have to give is a maximum of 100% energy at any given time. If we choose to live in the future and the past, we are giving away a whole lot of our energy and energy that we can do absolutely zero about. There's nothing that we can do to make changes about the future or the past unless you yourself have figured out some sort of time travel that I have not figured out. If you have, let me know. But there's very little that we can do. So we spend time and energy on stuff that we have no control over. So if we then center on what's going on right here, right now, we have the ability to control. This is the only moment that we have control over. And for people that are very anxiously oriented, that's actually a really helpful thing. You're only asking them to center on one moment, and at the same time, you're giving them 100% control over that moment. I ask my clients to look around themselves at this moment, not in the future or the past, and ask themselves, is there anything in this moment that I cannot handle? I've never heard anybody say, yes, there isn't something in this moment that I cannot handle. And I imagine that there may be a time that I hear that, but it's going to be something extremely overwhelming or life-shattering news. For the most part, at any given moment, there's really nothing that's going on with us that we cannot handle. And in our minds, yet we create stories that constantly are around things that we cannot handle. So why am I talking to you about this? Because grounding is one of those simplest ways that we can get ourselves centered, grounded, meaning that you have a firm ground underneath you. You feel like you're not floating in the air midway without any ground. You have a ground around you that feels solid. So how do you do that? Well, you do that very simply. 5 senses, guys. Most of the time in our lives, and I know I fall into this as well, I think that these life-changing things are going to happen based on these complex notions. And it's really the simple stuff that makes the differences, which is good, because these are the things that we actually have control over and we can teach our clients very, very simply. But we have to believe in them. So 5 senses, why are they important? Because what they do is they take us out of the present or out of the future and the past and into the present moment. And we do that through focusing concretely on what's happening around us. So a couple of important things before I show you how to do it. What I want you to do when I'm trying to figure out maybe what's helpful for a client is I watch, first of all, naturally what they do in the session with me. Are they sitting there twirling their hair? Are they playing with sand, kinetic sand? Are they looking around, focusing on things in my room? Are they getting distracted by sounds? And that stuff is very important because what it tells me is possibly this person is trying to naturally ground themselves and they don't even know it yet. So if I can use that to help them take it to the next level, then we really have something to go off of. Sometimes too is just with the practicing, they find out what their natural tools are, what helps them and what doesn't help them. So when I was deciding, to redo this video, I decided what better place than to get really comfortable and be around all of these pillows around me in a place where I feel naturally relaxed and grounded, where I feel naturally grounded and relaxed in a very big comfy sweater. I can twirl my hair, and I've got pillows all around me. So I'm naturally grounding even as I'm recording this video for you. So what is grounding? Well, you're going to, again, focus on those 5 senses. And so if you are somebody who is sight-oriented, what that means is that by looking at the things around you, focusing maybe on just the cars going by outside, or maybe, the birds, if you're able to get outside, watching the birds fly, watching the people go around. If that relaxes you, just kind of getting zoned out and watching people doing things, then you are a seeing-oriented person. If you are a hearing-oriented person, which I'll tell you is one of my main things, what that means is that what I typically do for anything other than seeing is I actually close my eyes. And the reason for this is what we know is when we close our eyes, we go into what we call alpha waves, much easier. And those are creative, slower waves in our brains that help us relax. And about 85% of the stimulation we have around us is based on our sight. So if we can eliminate that, we become better at actually accentuating all the other senses that are happening within us. So sound is extremely important to me. I listen to, there's in my office, the sound machine that's actually meant to just drown out sound so you don't hear it out in the hallway. But what it does is it creates this kind of monotonous movement that I can get easily drawn into and just really calms myself. It's predictable. I know what's happening when I'm listening to it. If you're a feeling-oriented person, this is where the textures and the things around you are going to make you feel comfortable and relaxed. I kind of am too, which is why I'm here. I've got beautiful silk pillows all around me and a really comfy, huge sweater that I borrowed from my husband. The first time I recorded this video, I was actually in a suit and it really wasn't comfortable at all. And so I decided to get into a grounding moment with the things around me. And it's really, really comfortable. And so you can actually hear the difference in my voice too. I'm automatically relaxed just sitting here with you guys. So a feeling-oriented person is going to be somebody who maybe focuses on the textures that are around them. Perhaps they even have kinetic sand with them, which is a really popular thing nowadays, or silly putty, stress ball, so they can squeeze and be aware of, like, yes, I'm involved in this thing called life. Perhaps they're going to be twirling their hair naturally before they even realize that there's something called grounding. And it's that feeling and that sensation of something that is soft and relaxing to us. If you're in the middle of a meeting, you can actually, you may not want to bring out your kinetic sand, but you can bring out like a soft rock and just kind of roll it in the middle of your hands, and most people won't even know that you're doing it. So we as adults really need to be doing this as well. And then, of course, teaching it to our clients who are coming into us. If you are a smell-oriented person, what this means is that you're somebody who becomes very relaxed when you smell certain scents. I've practiced grounding for a really long time, so I can actually ground myself based on anything that's around me. But smell is something that I really do appreciate and love. And I actually have these wonderful hand sanitizers, that are really cheap, that are just, they smell amazing. And one of my favorite ones is cinnamon vanilla. And if that's the only grounding tool I have on me, I'll put that on and I'll just kind of like hold it kind of close to me like this. And I can smell this amazing aroma of vanilla and cinnamon, and it automatically calms me and makes me think of something just incredible and sweet and relaxing. So that's something that you could do, or bring around a favorite lotion with you. And then finally, if you are a taste-oriented person, this is something I also do. I never, ever, ever leave home without my water. People sometimes think I'm a very thirsty person. I'm actually not. I am not a very thirsty person at all. But why do I carry water with me? Again, it's strictly for grounding purposes. If I have my water with me, it's incredibly helpful, especially when I'm in a group setting, because what I do is it gives me literally 1 or 2 seconds of time and space in between what's happening with me internally and what's going on with the clients around me. Now, when you're running a group especially, you're going to have a lot of energy coming toward you, a lot of emotion. Even if it's positive, it's a lot of stuff coming toward you. And sometimes it's hard to figure out, is that coming from me? Is that coming from the client? And so I'll take a sip of water and it'll give me 1 second to tune in with what's going on with me. I give myself that question, is this me? Is this the client? And then I can respond. And so that's something that I use. Sometimes people use things like a mint or gum. It helps, again, ground them and be aware of the sensation that's going on in the current moment rather than being stuck in the future or the past. So these are incredibly simple things that you can do. I want you to take at least 5 minutes per day to just get in your comfy place with lots of pillows or wherever it is that it is you that's grounding, and practice this. I would encourage you, honestly, to practice it at least 3 to 4 times per day. I practice it when I wake up in the morning, when I'm at lunch, during lunchtime, because instead of working, I allow myself to just take the time for me and ground myself. And then once again before I go to bed. So please take this time for yourself and start getting good at these things, because one thing I know is that you can never ask your clients to do anything you are not willing to do yourself. And if you get good at it and you believe in it, then you'll start to know how to teach it, and it will truly make a difference in the lives of your clients around you. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you on a future video for the Conscious Coaching Collective. Good night, guys.